So let's shoot the shit. Let's talk about Phil Spencer. Big podcast that he did last week. Kind of funny. A lot of people were talking about it, for better or for worse. I expect all of y'all watched it. What do y'all think? And this is to full context. This was after the release of Redfall. It was last Wednesday or Thursday of last week. So what's your take on this, Bill?
Hot on the tails of Redfall coming on. I when I first heard this, it was devastating to hear because he sounded very, very upset of everything that went down. It was not what he intended. And I think the whole industry was kind of shocked by this game. Not doing well. The scores have not been great. Very, very bad. So he had to come out and talk about it. But
Maze, what's your thoughts?
Shout out to Phil for getting out in front of this and just owning it. Not a lot of CEOs would even bother to come out on the public venue and even say anything about this and address, bad reviews for a game that they kind of needed. But it sucks. I was looking forward to Redfall, and I might put that on the back burner now, especially with all the gaming coming out. But given all the glitches and other things are going on wrong with it, not my top priority right now.
Yeah, no, I'm going to be honest, guys. Going back after this, Billy, I told you this over the weekend. I'm putting Redfall on the back burner. I'm going to play it during Halloween time. I'm going to, you know what I'll do? I'll drive up to Salem. I'll kind of get on my way home from work. I'll drive up to Salem.
Open up the trunk, put a TV in there.
Put a TV in there in a parking lot in Salem and play this game.
On a Halloween-style October day.
Yes. On a nice October-style day. Get an Oktoberfest. I think that's what we got to do here. But doesn't that sound fantastic? Because all the updates.
It sounds great until your car battery dies.
Yeah. Oh, knowing my car, that's like the guy in the car, auto shop was like, yeah, you cannot leave the state in this car. Like your car will literally bottom out. And I'm like, that's great. But regardless of that fact,
well, by then, Tim will have a Tesla.
Yes,
guarantee it.
Yes, exactly. I'll play this in the Tesla. Now, with that being said, I think about what Phil was saying. I think a lot of people are taking it out of context. I think he brought up some interesting points. I think one point that kind of shouldn't be overlooked was he was like, hey, listen, we're not competing directly with PlayStation. And that's kind of bad because that bleeds right into something that we're going to talk about. I think we just keep this conversation, man, free flowing because another thing that was leaked this week was Konami inking a deal with PlayStation, or at least seeming,
I heard about that.
seeming that. So with that being said, I think that could be misconstrued in a whole bunch of ways. I think there were some good things that he said. I think there were some bad things that he said. I think that was one of the things that I was like, okay, I understand what you're saying, but it was definitely misconstrued. And on top of that too, I think that when it comes to him mentioning about the differences in developers, I think that was kind of one thing that I was very proud of him to say, where he's like, hey, listen. And Gary, I think was Gary Whitta, said it perfectly, where he goes, this is a game that you don't want to fail. Like if you're a Sony fanboy, you don't want this game to fail because you want studios to do stuff that excites them. Like look at Rare, for instance, before Phil came. Granted, I'm a big Phil fan, but I'll be the first one to say Phil messed up with Redfall. But at least the thing is with Rare, they were just working on Kinect, sports and stuff. And now they're back they made Sea of Thieves. They're making games that, on
people
paper, that people care about, but on paper, somebody might say, well, why are they making that? It's like, well, because they want to make it. And that's why I think, I'm excited to see what they're going to do. Billy, why are you laughing?
Because we want Banjo.
We want Banjo. Maze wants Banjo.
Bird and the Bear needs to come home.
Banjo.
It's amazing that they've kind of just
nuts and bolts.
Yeah, they've just left that. They own that IP. I think one thing too they were talking about on this show was not directly competing, as you said, and getting the best games, those exclusive titles. That does mean something, and I think that Xbox has the potential to get there. They just have to, pick out those games. Like Banjo could be one of them. If it was a rock solid Banjo game, that game could kill. I could sell a lot of copies. Same thing with Halo. I think Halo was, for better or for worse, it did not perform how they wanted it to. And I think that it kind of brought down the franchise a bit. And I think we expect a lot from Phil, there's a lot to be expected from Phil in the next couple months. So a lot is riding on Starfield. And I mean, he is again, it's dangerous. And he flies dangerously, this guy.
He's flying through a Starfield.
He's flying through a
He's
Starfield.
flying through a meteor belt.
Or
a meteor shower.
He's telling us that Xbox is spent more time. They basically said Redfall flew under the wire and we weren't paying as close attention as we should have. And good on Phil for recognizing that. But he also mentioned that more resources were pulled towards Starfield. So people now are expecting that this game's going to be great, and there's a lot riding on this game. So it's tough.
Maze, what's your take on all that?
Feels like a double-edged sword. Phil's wielding right here.
It could be Excalibur. He could kill a whole army with this thing, but
oh no, it's definitely a double-edged sword. It has the potential to be the killer game that brings Xbox back into relevancy in terms of exclusives, but as Billy just said, touting it as that we pulled resources, we spent more time and kept more of a closer eye on Starfield, just puts more pressure on this to be the game that brings Xbox back. So if it works for him, fantastic. We get a great game out of it. Xbox has some exclusive games that people will want to play. If it does not, it's going to be hard to recover from it.
Yeah.
They'll basically be falling on the sword at that point. Yeah.
Maze, I was telling Billy this over the weekend. I think Redfall failing is a big warning sign for Phil. I'm happy that, I'm never want a game to fail. But if it was out of the two, I'm happy that it's this one and not Redfall. Or not Starfield. Mm-hmm. If Starfield failed, I don't think I think that's a lot of people, they're not coming back from that. This one, I think, they can learn their lesson and move on, but it's still painful. But
I think they will. I think they're going to learn their lesson on this one. There's no way that they can repeat the same mistake here. If they do, that's just not okay. Because this was terrible. This launch was. This is now. I was reading online. Redfall is now in the top 15 worst rated games on Steam of all time.
Yeah. Easy. But you know what's odd is people are still playing it. It's still one of the top.
That's so weird. Isn't that weird?
It's playable though, isn't it? Not like no. I guess the other thing to
playable.
I guess the thing to look at is that it came out. Is it a fantastic game? Is it showcasing everything that Arcane Austin can do? No. There are some glitches. I've seen some questionable ones. I think I saw one online of when you look down scope of a sniper rifle, you literally see the scope. It doesn't go into the scope for you. So that's one thing. But I guess all in all, people still saying, like going through that comment section on Reddit when I saw that post, is that, it's like I just avoided the sniper rifles and all that. I changed my playstyle, which not a good look, but you can at least say it is, I guess, playable.
Yeah, that's
at the end of the day, you can say it's better.
Yeah,
I know, but at the end of the day, you can still say it's better than how Cyberpunk launched.
That is true.
Yeah, well,
I mean, look, it's not a great look. I'm not going to disagree with you on that. And like I said, I'm going to avoid it for now until it has had a lot of fixes.
Halloween.
Exactly. It'll be ready for time to do it. But at least at the same, you can say that it is playable.
That's a tough one to argue, though.
I know. I'm just saying. No, I know. It's a tough one to argue. But if you could stomach, like they say, it's like, minus those things. I think a lot of the claims for war is just kind of bare bones. It doesn't do anything special, doesn't do anything spectacular. It's just kind of like there. There's not a lot going on. And I think that's why people are disappointed. So at the end of the day, it is playable. It just seems a little bland, I guess.
Well,
compared to what we are expecting to get.
One thing I want to say that really sucks, though, with all this is that this is a very sad situation for Xbox. And it sucks. People are ganging up on this and using this as fuel for the fire, which is like console wars between, fan bases.
Oh, of course.
It's awful. It's like this shouldn't be going on because it's like you want to celebrate games. And it's a big loss, I think, to bringing the community together in general.
And unfortunately, this is what these companies want. Sony is reveling.
Oh,
in this right
yeah,
now.
they're probably-
I think maybe in some regards, but I also don't think so in many regards. Like I think there's a lot of just developers
Sony's reveling?
like Corey Balrog that are just, they just want to see games succeed. They don't care
Yeah, that
if
guy's-
it's
Yeah, but those are the developers, and I feel like they're on a different tier. You go talk to like the CEOs and presidents of these companies, like they want to see the other ones fail.
and maybe that's the truth. I think the sad thing though, Billy hit it.
It's a business at the end of the day.
Yeah,
let's be honest.
it's-
It's a business for Sony, for Microsoft. At the end of the day, studios like they might band together and they look upon these failures as bad for the gaming world because they want to see everyone do well.
Well, it's like the thing of saying it's I know these are two completely different things, but it's another two things that we care about here that we talked about on the show. But it's like Universal Studios or the parks in Florida versus Disney. I think in many cases right now, maybe this is the wrong way. Maybe Disney's like the Sony situation and Universal's like the Xbox in this situation. And Xbox has a lot of stuff to come out soon, and we're looking forward to it. But it's like you want both things to succeed. You want Disney to succeed. You want Universal to succeed. Because by having each one succeed, that helps the other one get better. It forces that competition, right? Galaxy's Edge wouldn't have existed because a lot of the blueprint for that and how it's designed is based off of how, the Hogwarts area, Hogsmeade is designed. So it's one pushing the other. And I think that's the thing that Gary Whitta in the podcast was kind of saying is or in the interview was kind of saying is, hey, listen, this is a brand new IP. You want this to succeed. All the fans out there of either side, you kind of, listen, we all wave those flags of PlayStation and Xbox. I think we all do. I lean more towards Xbox, Billy. You lean towards PlayStation. But I'll be honest. I'm playing through Horizon Forbidden West. I think it's a good game. I don't think it's a great game, but I think it's a very good game. Most beautiful world in video games I've ever played.
It is. And can we argue that? But also for all of us, we all own every console.
Yeah.
Yep.
We all support everyone. Like we literally own each of three of us here have each console.
Yep.
Yeah.
Current gen.
Thanks for listening to VGP. Make sure you subscribe to the show. Also, follow VGP on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at A Video Game Podcast.